Okay, so what we want to avoid, whether we're gentle shaking or rocking, is we want to avoid that our motion creates a jiggle, that you want to notice his head is moving in an opposite way from the rock. Okay? And there's no way for them to move in complete sync because there's a time lag. That's what's important to understand. But the time lag should be such that it's kind of like a rocking of a wave where it goes this way and then I'm going away and then it follows. But it should never jiggle. There shouldn't be this, what I call the jiggle wiggle in one of the handouts. I mean, it was kind of hard to come up with the nice sounding word, but it was like the jiggle wiggle, which is this. And that sucks. Please don't do that. It's uncomfortable. Giveaways for the jiggle wiggle is you actually look at the person and they're disconnected or they're getting scrunched in spots. So to really understand a good huang and a good yao, or a good gentle shaking and a good rocking, is to make sure we first practice what's wrong. So we don't want to settle in today and be like, okay, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Put your hands on and go. And be like, oh my gosh, look at his chin, his hair, his head. I mean, I'm having fun because we got James and not Rupert on the table. So. And this is not cool. Okay? There's no nice way to say this. Look at his feet. I mean, if he had knee problems, if he had lower back problems, I am aggravating them. It's like a thorn in there going ching, 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 ching. If the tendons are pulling on the joint and I'm going, it's going ching, 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 ching. And he's just like, and they're going to get nauseous. They're going to get a headache. They're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to stop breathing deeply, and then they're going to get really weird on your table. Don't do that. So, for my gentle rocking or my gentle shaking and my rocking, I'm going to make my connection, and there's always a bit of weight. I lighten, and I settle. Down 2, up 1, down half. I made up those numbers. Person's got a big belly, it might be down 7. Okay? What's important is that there's a connection to the skeletal system, and they feel the pressure, and then I release it, and they go, oh, they're letting go. And while they're still hearing the up motion, I settle on to that up. So I push down, I then lighten faster than they can fill in. So they're filling in, and then I grab as it comes up into my hand. And if I do that, I will have much more depth and contact, but they will swear to goodness my touch is lighter than yours. But I will guarantee you, if we could see them in their body, my touch is deeper. But they can't feel it because the last thing they remembered was an up, or a release, or an away, or a softening. And so that ability to go down, up, settle in as they fill into your hands. Now I've got a good firm connection, and they like that touch. They're like, ah. As opposed to down, which now they're like, where's he going to go with this? Or down, up. Okay? So, that's the first thing that makes a rock very good, is we have to have that down, up, settle. So then, and once you get good at this, so you want to practice this down, up, settle, you'll actually feel the whole skeletal system. So I've got, you might as well today practice a little bit on having both hands on the ASISs, the big bumps here. So you want to push down, lift, and then let that hip settle into your palms and be like, oh, okay. And then start gentle. There's no hurry. If you get going too big, you end up with a wiggle jiggle. Okay? So down, up. What did I not do?
Line.
Totally forgot. So busy wanting to tell you about something else. The nice thing about James is he's going to get on and do like the whole. He's pretty good at person. Subtle. But if we look, we'll see his head moving and his feet moving. Look at the clothing, see the motion. At this point, at this lightness, the skill of the technique is to have a minor amplitude where I'm touching, but the movement elsewhere is larger. That makes sense? And then I'm going to raise it up until it ends up a bit balanced. And then if I have the really big guy with the belly, then the middle ends up bigger than everything else. But I want the whole skeletal system without him ever wanting to engage his muscles to steady himself or to have his breathing become stopped because he's uncomfortable or unsure. I want to have a nice release. And I'm getting a little heavier again just because I got light too fast. And I'm on the ASIS here. If you got a big person, it's helpful. But just so that everyone can remain pretty connected to the skeletal system, and on the odd chance you've got cold hands, it keeps you from having cold on someone's lower jowl. But the most frequent you'll see is I'll be right on the abdomen. Got a nice suction coming up. And then what we're going to practice is great. I mean, this is not hard. However, warm hands, this technique, a lot of patients will come back for no other reason than this. They'll be like, this is highly addictive. Remember, Western medicine says repetitive motion releases dopamine. Look at his brain. Dopamine. Okay? Now, let's start adding some things here. Come down in the hip. Now I have to have traction. So my upper hand is going in with some weight so I can feel the spine against the table. I'm not squishing him. Okay? And it's pulling up towards his head. So I'm going this way, this way, this way. My lower hand is connecting into the bones of the thigh and going down towards the knee and the feet. So my hands are going away from each other. Does that make sense? I'm creating space in the hip. But overall, my dantian or my body is going down to the feet. Because I don't want this going up into his head. Look at that. Yuck, 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 yuck. Ah. Yuck. Ah. Okay? So I've got this nice traction. And the first skill, as I can work my way down the leg. So I can work here, I can be right on the joint. I can work to right mid-thigh. I can work to just above the patella, so I've got the kneecap hooked. It's an anchor for me. I can use it. If I have the height, I can get to spleen 9. I can get to the ankle, Sanyan-jiao, spleen 6. And I've got a good length down the leg. And what we want to do is first we want to take a good rock. Then we want to see if we can get our rock to a good amplitude that's big, but does not feel uncomfortable to our patient. Then we want to settle into an even rock, and we want to add this second hand. And can we make it even? That the two hands are moving together. Okay? Pretty easy, but with the two tractions and in the body traction, it can get a little confusing at first. Then we say, goodness, I really want the head of the femur to get some extra life and movement in the hip socket. So I'm going to increase the amplitude of my leg hand while not letting the amplitude of my pelvis hand. Okay? Very nice. Getting life into the joint, helping that yin region, the groin, get that nice life in there. Oftentimes, though, if they've got sciatic and I'm doing this large amplitude here, I'm going to make it worse. They have sciatic. They've got a pinched vertebra in the lower back that is okay to touch, right? It's not in the acute phase. It wants life. It wants chi. It wants blood. In that situation, what I need to have happen is I go back to neutral, both hands are the same, and then now my upper hand is going to have the bigger rock, and my lower hand is going to have the lesser rock. And I'm going to really move the lower back, spine, pelvis, and not let it disperse through the leg, so that he gets more concentrated movement in the pelvis. How are we doing down there?
It's good.
You figure after this many years, he'd know that's not what I meant.
Sort of not in the mood to talk because it's so.
It's always the problem when we do any of the chi things. So, amplitude high, moving the pelvis, the spine, getting that weight, but he doesn't feel a grinding in the hip. Amplitude low, he doesn't feel his spine being torqued, but he's getting amplitude in the joint. Okay? Area needs blood and life, it's good to have amplitude. Area gets inflamed, has necrosis, and you're going to grind and damage it, you want it equal. Area is sore, achy, you want the higher area moving lower, right? It's a choice. You just got to think about whether do you want... Hold on a second. This is a deep la-la land technique. And you get this, the warm hands and the chi. It's just, it is mean to send them out into the big bad world in this state, unless you do some padding. I mean, I've told the story for all those seminars of this patient just sitting at that red light in their car, and then the light goes green, and they're just sitting there. Just out in their parking lot, just like, Right? That's where padding becomes very good as an anchor. Bring their Shen back. So back to what we were just talking about, what's important is we just need to look down, and with our bianxue, everyone knows bianxue, right? Our bianxue X-ray vision, we want to see into the body and see the damage that we're trying to fix. And if I think that the area will benefit from a rubbing to get life back into it, then I want to accentuate the leg dynamic, keeping the pelvis still, so that the pelvis is here, and inside I'm getting life back into this whole area. And if I'm worried about bone spurs or things catching, I don't want movement in there in terms of friction. I want space. And I need the shaking to get life and chi and blood in between the joints. But at no point do I want the joints to move enough that they get friction because they have injury in there that will worsen with friction. So if I separate it and then I shake it, but it stays even, but life gets in between the area, I accomplished my goal. And if I feel that the back and pelvis needs the life, then I need to make sure my upper hand is moving the pelvis around in a bigger motion so that the leg is still, it doesn't get balanced out by both hands at once, so therefore the pelvis moves, but nothing actually moves physically inside. I want to move that pelvis, really rotate the pelvis so they get more life into their bottom of where the sacrum is, all of those sitting, then this other hand happens. And how do I know which is which? You just look, and you think, ha! That's going to feel good. That's going to irritate the heck out of it. Ooh, I don't want to hurt it, but it needs life. Let's get some life into this upper area or in the sit bones. And if everything moves, they get less turn. It's that simple.